I'm going, and I bought my dream car at 18 years old. Here's a story of how I did it, and also got flagged as an international money launderer in the process. If you think this is going to be an absolutely epic video, please drop a like and hit subscribe. That shows the algorithm that this is an awesome video and it'll send it to more people. This car right here is not the car I'm talking about, but more on this one later. So the story. Cut to me, 17 years old, working as an intern at the top rated #1 independent financial firm in the nation. I gotta say, this job was a fantastic opportunity. I was 17 years old at the time, but I found out one key thing. I don't do office work well. I found myself to be super bored during that job and not being as thorough as I probably should have. So because I was so bored in this job, this led me to daydream quite a bit. And from this daydreaming, I actually came up with a crazy idea. Since my dream car was manufactured in England, would it be cheaper for me to buy one in England and ship it to the United States than to just buy one in the United States? I told my fellow interns this who were working with me, and all of them thought I was crazy. And honestly, I don't blame them. So there it was. I had this crazy idea. Now all I needed to do was some research, make a plan, and take action on it. So that's exactly what I did. For the next year, I spent hours every day scouring the internet on Facebook groups and forums just to see if somebody had done this before and if it was even possible. I finally got in touch with somebody who could actually help facilitate this entire thing. Now all I had to do was find a car and a seller of said car who would allow me to give them a deposit, hold the car until I could fly to England. Lo and behold, I found Nathan. And honestly, huge shout out to Nathan, who after phone calls and many messages, agreed to let me give him half down as a deposit for him to hold the vehicle for a couple of months. Side note, I cannot believe Nathan trusted me. I can't believe I trusted Nathan to actually not just take the money and run, because he totally could have. I mean, we had an agreement in place. I make sure to do an agreement, but. So at this point, I was no longer working for the finance firm, and I had switched jobs. I'd become an executive assistant at a vacation rental management company, True North Property Management. Now, another huge shout out to my current boss and the CEO of that company, Christian, because if it wasn't for him and his flexibility and him allowing me to work virtually for 2 weeks in October, I probably wouldn't have been able to do this entire project. So now everything was set. Now all I had to do was book a flight and pick up the car. Simple enough, right? One problem. At the time, I was 18 years old. I can't get a rental car in England until you're 25. And this was a big issue because the car I was gonna pick up was 3 hours away from London, where I was flying into, and it was another 2 hours away from where I was supposed to drop it off. So I called my dad and I asked if he was up to do a road trip through England with me to pick up this car. And he said yes. Next thing I knew, we booked some flights, packed our bags. We were on a plane from Detroit to London. What ensued next was probably one of the greatest trips I've ever had. My dad and I explored England as we had about 2 days before the meetup date with Nathan. Then I ran into another big problem. I had originally planned to convert all my United States dollars to Great British pounds when I landed in England. But when we got there, all of the exchange places had a daily minimum that wouldn't allow me to get to the amount that I needed before the meeting date. So my dad and I made a plan. I wired him half of the money that I needed so he could start withdrawing and converting money as well. Now, some algorithm in the infinite thing that we call the internet had decided that what we were doing was bad and put us on what felt like a blacklist for any international money exchanges or conversions or withdrawals. We couldn't open any new accounts, and the accounts that we had we couldn't get back into. They'd been fully locked down. So we were stuck, missing 3,000 Great British pounds and 1 day left to go. That's when I called my credit union, a local credit union in Battle Creek, Michigan. Shout out Omni Community Credit Union. And I found out that they allow you to withdraw money from international ATMs for a very small fee. So we were back in action, driving around England, hitting an ATM at any city that we stopped in, and withdrawing as much as that ATM would allow. Thankfully, we got the right amount right before our meetup with Nathan. Everything from then on was pretty smooth. We inspected the car, paid Nathan, and then I had to drive a 53-year-old car 2 hours away to drop it off in a country that I've never driven in before. And here's a hint, they drive on the other side over there. But this was absolute blast, and we pretty much did the entire thing without a hitch. So we got the car dropped off, met the people who were helping us ship it to the United States, and then we flew home. And a couple months later, I got a notification that the car was in Baltimore. So we picked it up from the shipyard, which is an absolute adventure in itself and very complicated, which I'll probably dive into in a different video. And we drove home. So I had my dream car. And for some reason, I haven't told you what it is until now. But obviously, I'm gonna give you some backstory about why it's my dream car. Rewind to 2013. I was 8 years old, and my favorite TV show was Mr. Bean. funny British comedy TV show. When I saw the main character and his stuffed teddy bear called Teddy drive around in that car, my mom had told me this. I apparently had turned to my parents and said, one day I'm gonna have one of those cars. And that car, of course, is a classic Mini Cooper. Yeah, I know, it's not a super fancy car like a McLaren or a Lotus, although those are coming soon. But it was a car that I had dreamed of owning since I was 8 years old. I spent the summer enjoying this car, and I ended up selling it a couple months in so that somebody else could enjoy it. I realized that this was something that nobody else was actually focusing on. In the Midwest area, there's some Japanese car importers, but there's absolutely no importers that specialize in European cars. That's when I decided to do this more, because I learned this crazy skill of how to get cars from Europe to the United States. And it gave me the ability to share some really unique cars with my community. Since then, we've imported 3 other cars. This is one of them. This one has actually just sold, which is pretty awesome. And then a Lotus 7 kit car, which has also been sold. And yes, I know this is a JDM car, but I bought it in England, okay? It was cool. Now I'm still helping grow True North Property Management, but that company is also entering into private equity roll-up in January, so I'll be able to dedicate more time to TGR imports. Stay tuned, and I hope you really enjoyed this video, because I'm gonna be posting more from here on out. Now, if you excuse me, I've gotta get back to my homework.